are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.
Good morning, viewers. It is time to arise and shine, your daily dose of inspiration and faith. I'm Christy Paul, and our guest on today's episode is Claudine Reid, MBE, who is the chair of the Black Business Advisory Committee for Lloyds Banking Group, who are supporting Black businesses. Claudine is deemed as one of the most influential Black women in businesses in past years and has done phenomenal work in governing bodies and social entrepreneurship. Multi-award winner, with a coach, and I think you've written a couple of books.
I have.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Christy.
Oh, brilliant. We want to find out more of what this Black Business Initiative is all about. So can you tell us, as the chairperson, can you tell us the goals and vision that you have for this initiative?
Yeah, so first of all, before I can answer that question, I need to give a little bit more context or a bit more history to what took us to that place, if that's okay.
Yes.
So for the last 27 years of my life, I've been running an organisation, PJ's Community Services, with my team of staff. We've employed just over 10,000 people over that period of time. So in that space, what I get to see on a daily basis is the power of job creation, social mobility, community and generational wealth. More importantly, I've learnt what business does to the community and how it adds value to the community, social value, environmental value. And those are some of the pillars, if you like, that make a community strong and wholesome, a nice place to live. You talk about the education structures and all of those respective components. So it's with that backdrop that I was headhunted to chair the advisory committee for Lloyds Banking Group as it relates to Black businesses. And my role there, Christy, is to really support the bank in stretching and challenging their thinking as to what do support frameworks look like for Black entrepreneurs. And the reason why this is important is because when you look at every report, every study that's ever been done, there's a organised out of Aston University, the Centre of Research for Ethnic Minority Entrepreneurship. They've done lots of studies around why is it that Black entrepreneurs in particular fare less or don't do as well as their non-Black counterparts. So with that in mind, and after the brutal murder of George Floyd in 2020, the bank released what was referred to as the Race Action Plan. And it was their internal look at their own organisation and where they've done well and where they haven't done so well. And I think that's a brave thing, right? There are not very many people who are going to say, hey, look, I've not been really great over here. I think it was a really great bold move for them to identify their own failings and their own misgivings and wanting to do something about it. So they headhunted me, I formed a committee, and the role of myself in the committee is to support the bank in creating programmes and frameworks of support for Black entrepreneurs. That takes a number of forms, because I'm sure you know there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Yeah. And business is a continuum. There's startups, there's people at the growth stage, there's people at the scale stage. There are lots of different pinpoints, if you like, or different milestones along that journey. And my role is literally just to help the bank navigate that pathway.
Oh, brilliant. And you said that you've been involved in this for quite some time, 2020.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for 27 years. Yes, I got into entrepreneurship as I left university. I was studying business studies, and I was working for an organisation during that period of time as part of my degree. I had to work for a year. When I was ready to leave, after my year was up, I said to the director, right, it's time for me to go back to university. He said to me, he doesn't want me to leave. Oh. So he proposed to me. Of course, I said yes. We got married, and that was my introduction. That was my introduction into the business space. I mean, I think when I think about the story now, I went into business because of my husband. I stayed in business because what I became in the process. I loved the personal development. I loved the professional development. I love how I was able to live out my faith through business. I love the fact that I was able to increase my impact, my influence, and my income in the community and serve, because I think that's what entrepreneurship is. That's what leadership is. It's about serving your community. And I through the running of my business, I was able to do all of those things. And I felt that this was my call. We were speaking before off air that not everybody's called to the pulpit. Not everybody's called to what I refer to as temple ministries or church ministries. Yeah. Some of us have ministries or work or influence or impact outside of the confines, outside of the four walls of the church. And to me, that's what marketplace ministry is. It's about taking your faith, your call, taking those scriptures and taking it to the marketplace where the people really are. And I guess if you think about it, on the day of Pentecost, after the apostles received power in the upper room, the instruction was to go downstairs. Go downstairs represents the marketplace. Go downstairs represents a place where the community is, where people are, where the traders are. What good would it be to stay in the upper room or to stay in the four walls of the church and not advance that message and not share that message of power, of influence, of impact in our communities?
Brilliant. And it's been 27 years of growth, like you said, and success. You've done many things,
yes.
Many remarkable things. So let's go back to the Black Business Initiative. How long has this been going on for?
So they released, Lloyds Bank released the Race Action Plan in 2020. I took the post towards the end of 2020, and it's part of a multi-year plan. So this is the third year, so part of a multi-year plan.
Oh, brilliant. And can you share with us some of the accomplishments that it's done from since it started?
Yeah, for sure. So we started... When you're going to embark on any major project or any big idea, it's always important to get a baseline or an understanding of the environment that you're in. Okay. So we started with a survey. The survey was called Black British in Business and Proud. It sounds like a mouthful. Black British in Business and Proud. And the survey really revealed what you probably know as an entrepreneur, but we needed some hardcore facts, not just feelings to run off. And the facts showed us that many entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs in particular, don't trust the banks. We don't trust government. We don't access the opportunities that the banking industry are offering because there's a lack of trust. And if there's a lack of trust, there's going to be a lack of access. And if there's a lack of access, there's going to be a lack of progress. So having that as a baseline data with hardcore statistics that we could refer back to, we were then able to put measures and programs in place to actually challenge some of those assumptions. And some of the success stories look like entrepreneurs coming into the ecosystem of support. So we've engaged organisations like Foundervine, like Jammy, like Mentor Black Business. And what they're doing is engaging with the community. The bank is supporting them to engage with the community, to provide accelerator programs, to provide community-based events, to provide the much-needed information, lessons, education that people can plug into in order to grow and scale their businesses. We've created events like the Launchpad, which I was judging at the UK Black Business Show last week. Incredible opportunities for people to apply into the competition, to win mentorship, to win funding, to win access to other types of opportunities. One of the programs that I'm really proud of, and I really just can't wait till that one comes to the fore, we partnered with Channel 4.
Oh, yes.
And we, the prize was 5 winners would win £100,000 worth of TV advertising, of course, to raise the visibility and profile of their respective organisations. We were expecting, say about 500 people to apply. Oh my goodness, over 1,000 people applied.
Brilliant.
The process was probably grueling. I mean, I wasn't involved in the shortlisting. I got the opportunity to see the final 10, and the caliber, the ideas, the innovation, the ingenuity was absolutely incredible. And all of this is testament to the research that the bank have done, the fact that they have been quite forthcoming in supporting the needs of the business community, because ultimately what this leads to, and I think this is the underlying thing, it leads to job creation, it leads to sustainability, it leads to social mobility, it leads to the ability to businesses to contribute to the UK economy in a completely different or more robust way. The next opportunity that brings is then international business opportunities, and plugging into the right networks and the right types of organisations and structures that will help and support that progress.
Brilliant. Have you ventured out internationally as yet, or?
Yes, I have, on a personal level. So I was exploring business opportunities in the Caribbean, and probably more of interest to the viewers, exploring business opportunities in the United States. And of course, everything there is, super size, right?
Yeah.
5 times the size that
Yes.
it is here in the UK. But there are opportunities. But what we're looking for are those businesses that are robust, those businesses that are ready to trade at an international on an international stage. So doing business here in the UK is very, very different to trading in the Caribbean, or trading in Africa, or trading in the US, or trading in Europe, or trading in Australia. It's really about making sure that you have all of those checks and measures, making sure that your business is robust, making sure that you have good infrastructure, good team, having good technology, all of those things that make the business, which for the most part is not about a person. Moving away from lifestyle businesses, moving away from personality-based businesses to performance-based businesses. What's the metrics? How is your business performing in an environment where there are competitors, where there are people vying for the same space that you are? So when you talk about, have I ventured out? Yes, I've done some research. I've gone out. I'm putting together a program of activity for people who are interested in international trade. I've called it the Entrepreneurs Exchange. It's about the exchange of ideas. It's about the meeting of meanings. When you come with your idea and I come with my idea, we get a third idea, right? And that's what growth and progress and innovation looks like.
Oh, brilliant. You talked about the development of a business, how well it can its efficacy, basically. So is that what your collaboration with Founder Vine is all about, or what is that all about, your collaboration with Founder Vine?
So Founder Vine are a key partner that work with Lloyds Bank, and what they do is provide support programs, accelerator programs, opportunities, spotlight events for entrepreneurs to plug into that ecosystem. So for example, if somebody said, look, I want to run a food business and I have no idea, I've just got this secret recipe from my grandmother and they want to, create a food business, or they're in the creative industry, or, they have an idea that they want to bring to the market. Plugging into an accelerator program will give you insight into the types of things that you need to be thinking about. Let's start with your business model canvas. Let's start with your marketing plan. Let's start with your tech enablement plan. Let's have a look at the financials. Do you need investment? Where are those types of things coming from? And to help boost your understanding so that as you move out of that accelerator phase and as you move into the marketplace to actually launch your business, you're doing so with better ideas, with a better knowledge of how to navigate that space.
Brilliant. I'm sure our viewers are interested in all that you're saying. What is there a criteria to the Black businesses, if they want to get in touch? Is there criteria that they should have, or to get support from?
So it's interesting to understand that businesses are on a continuum. You've got businesses that are at a startup phase, and then you've got businesses who are at a growth stage, and then you've got businesses that are at a scale stage. So at the startup phase, if you think about it as a life cycle of an individual, a baby doesn't need the same type of support as a teenager. A teenager doesn't need the same type of support as somebody who's mature in age. So the same process happens with business. For somebody who's just starting up, there would be a criteria. You know, somebody could have just woken up in the morning, I've got this idea, I want to start a business. There is space for that. Versus somebody who's been running their business for a significant period of time, perhaps they're challenged with growth opportunities, or they're not sure where to go, or they want to do some international trade. There are different places for people to plug in to access the type of support they require based on where they are on that journey. So the first port of call will be to understand, where are you in the journey? And depending on what you're looking for. So not everybody knows what they need at that at the particular stage. It's through conversation, it's through mentorship, it's through, you know, networking and putting yourselves in different types of environments that you actually realise, maybe I need to go back to study, or actually I've been running my business for X amount of years and now I need to expand my networks. I need to be a bit more disruptive in my thinking and in my innovation strategies. So people can plug in at different points.
Okay. Brilliant. So what advice would you give to Black business owners who, let's say they're just starting out? What advice would you give to them?
That's a really great question. If they're just starting out, do you mean they just have an idea and that's all?
Yes, just have an idea and looking for information as to what to do next.
Okay, so of course I'm going to be really biased, aren't I? If you've just got an idea and you're not really sure what to do next, I would suggest that they go to the Business Hub, the Lloyds Bank Business Hub, or connect up with me for a mentorship one-on-one conversation, and we can decide how to plug you into the ecosystem. Because the thing about having an idea, you know, lots of people have, when I'm mentoring some of my clients, oh, Claudine, I've got hundreds of ideas. Really what I want to do is narrow down, because you can't focus on several ideas at the same time. You got to focus on one idea first, build that out, then go on to the next, build the next idea. And whilst you're building, you're creating your team so that your team can do the execution whilst you can go off and continue with the innovation. So I'd suggest anybody who's got a new idea that they want to start, we've got to test the viability of the idea. Is this really a sustainable idea, or is it just a hobby? Who are your clients? How much are they willing to pay for this product or service that you've come up with? Will it operate in your community? Will it operate in your city? Will it operate in your country? Will it operate across continents? What level of business are you looking to bring? And then once you're able to get those metrics in place, once you've worked out your unique selling point, once you've worked out how you're going to finance this, once you've worked out what your marketing plan is and who your ideal customer is, then we can move on to the next stage.
Oh, brilliant. With your expertise in, you know, this business sector, what are the main difficulties that you've seen over the time that Black businesses face?
Oh, wow. That's a really great question. The difficulties vary depending on age and stage. They could be gender issues. There could be lack of access to finance, lack of access to capital, lack of access to information, not having the right networks to plug into, not understanding fully where to go. And all of these barriers, Christy, slow progress. You're not able to make as fast progress as your non-Black counterparts because we maybe don't have the networks, or we don't have the access to finance, or we don't understand the finance, or we're not sure or how to access certain types of opportunities. So one of the things that's really important in business, as in life, is about networking and connecting up with the right type of people and having conversations, because in that conversation you've exposed yourselves to bigger opportunities. You've exposed yourself to different types of people who come with different ideas and different types of creativity and innovation, and all of that contributes to the ecosystem of your ideas. It contributes to the ecosystem of bringing your idea to life.
Brilliant. So networking is the solution, you're saying?
It's one of the
One of the
solutions.
solutions.
So I think there are many components to how you make progress, and networking is one of them. Because here's the thing: the more you expose yourself to different networks, and the more you expose yourself to different people, your mind expands.
Yep.
And when your mind expands, it can't shrink back to low level to low level thinking. And what's really interesting, I was in Louisiana last week, and the way how I got there, if you like, started out at a networking meeting. So I was at a meeting hosted by the Department of International Trade. I met somebody there. She invited me to the US Embassy for a conversation. There were other delegates there, of course. We were speaking to the delegates. We recognised that there were some synergies in our work. We've been having conversations via email. We met up, had a virtual meeting on Zoom. Mm-hmm. And technology is a wonderful thing. You can be anywhere in the world and meet with people. That meeting culminated in my US colleagues coming back to the UK for 2 more visits to explore opportunities here. And then myself and a colleague went to the US last week to explore what those opportunities are. I share that story because that came from networking. Okay. It was about speaking to people who you don't know, who don't have the same frames of reference. You got to build trust. You got to build understanding. You've got to find where is that common ground. And the common ground is growth. The common ground is business growth. The common ground is economic growth for our respective countries. And if we're able to contribute to that, it goes back to the thing that we started off saying at the beginning: job creation, social mobility, community and generational wealth, all the things that are spoken about in the book of Acts in the Bible. Mm-hmm. You can't have a robust community without an economic foundation. How do people eat? Okay. How do you educate people? So it's one thing to say this is what the church needs to do, but the church also, as well as requiring prayers, we need pounds, right? Yeah. We need money to make this work. And one of the ways to make this work is by creating what I refer to as an economic engine, the business. And it's the business that you are able to leverage those opportunities, because providing jobs also contributes to meaning to people. People want to get up. They want to contribute to a bigger goal, a bigger agenda than themselves. They want to be part of a community. And sometimes job gives you that sense of identity, that sense of belonging, if you like. So networking, I believe, is the start of a building block that you build on to continue to grow.
Brilliant. Now, looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future for Black entrepreneurship in the UK? Wow,
that is a massive question, and I have so many ambitions and so many hopes for Black entrepreneurs as it relates to business. There's a study that says Black entrepreneurs contribute 25 billion to the UK economy. My hope over the next 5 years is that we can increase that figure. And one of the ways that we increase that figure is by creating more robust businesses, by supporting those businesses to grow in their respective industries, by supporting leadership development, by educating young people, by putting into some of the school systems educational programs around entrepreneurship, and having entrepreneurship as a viable option for young people. So they have, of course, they have career pathways, but for those people who are more creative, who think outside of the box, you think about artificial intelligence and machine learning and the way how technology is being developed at a pace that we can just about keep up with. So being able to tap into that level of innovation through entrepreneurship, I think it will do excellently for our communities, because when the business world is flourishing, it contributes to the communities that we live in. Our spaces will be nicer to live in. There'll be less deprivation. There will be less crime. There'll be less poverty. There'll be less challenges in our community, because the business community will have the resource in terms of people, in terms of money, in terms of influence, in terms of impact. They'll have the resource in order to add value to those areas where there are challenges.
Brilliant. Well, Miss Reid, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Is there any last words you'd like to leave with our viewers before we head on off?
My favourite author and mentor John Maxwell encourage us to dream loud, to dream big, and to dream in colour. And for any of you who are thinking about business, thinking about entrepreneurship, thinking about taking that leap, maybe you have a business already and you're in the growth stage and you just want to get out and do something more. You want to get out and expand your options and you want to expand your opportunities. I would encourage you to connect with me, because I'd like to be able to signpost you. Even if I don't have the answer, I might be able to signpost you to another space, to another person, to another opportunity that you may be able to leverage.
Brilliant. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with Claudine Reid, MBE. All the links are on your screen. We have a QR code. You can go on over and get connected with us. Love you and see you soon.
You are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God. You are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.